Here's the truth. Your leg height isn't limited by flexibility, it's limited by control. Most dancers stretch for hours, but their developpés barely improve because flexibility gives you range, but not strength in that range. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build higher, more controlled extensions using anatomy-backed training, not gimmicks or ankle weights. And if you want to build the deep foundation that makes this effortless, I've created a 7-day repeatable program called Elevate Your Extensions. It's designed to reset your movement patterns, strengthen your deep stabilizers, and unlock your true leg line. You can start anytime, the link's below, but let's dive in. Can't lift what you can't control. Developpé is a chain reaction between your core, your hip, and your standing leg. When the coordination is missing between the muscles like the iliacus, the psoas, and the adductors to stabilize and lift your leg, it's going to be a massive challenge for you to try and get that leg up, even if you have lots of flexibility. If flexibility is something that you're struggling with, make sure that you're training your flexibility with dynamic stretches. Here are my top 3 favorite dynamic stretches to help stretch your hamstrings, your adductors, and also your deep rotators. For your hamstrings, bend forward, place your palms flat on the ground, and bend your knees if you have to. You want to try and keep your ribs against your thighs throughout this entire exercise. Stretch one leg and then the other leg, working side to side. If palms flat on the ground is too hard for you right now, put them on a yoga block or box. Or if that's too easy, you can stand on a box or a step, place your palms on the ground, and work at an even deeper range. Try this test. Do your développé before you do that exercise, and then again after doing 60 reps, and you'll see how much higher your leg gets because of the release of those muscles. Stretch your adductors. You're going to open your heels, your toes, and then your heels and your toes. You're going to come down into a squat, sticking your bottom out and trying to keep your back upright. Here we're working into trying to allow our hips to drop slightly below our knees, and that's going to help to stretch those adductors while maintaining strength in your quadriceps. Try holding for 60 seconds and then come out of the stretch. And for your deep rotators, if you're finding that your rotation is feeling a bit limited, you're going to go into a pigeon stretch, and you're going to come up over your knee and back down. Up over the knee, back down. Up over the knee, back down. Working through that range, go for 30 seconds on one leg, 30 seconds on the other. This keeps your muscles active, working the stabilizers and the active muscle groups in opposition, so that when you do go in and do your strength work, everything is open and free for you to activate and work in the range that you're trying to achieve with the height of your extensions. In a développé à la seconde, your leg moves through hip flexion, abduction, and external rotation. That's 3 planes of motion controlled by one joint, and your pelvis has to stay stable through the entire movement. Your key players are going to be your iliacus and your psoas, which are going to help to lift the leg, your obturator internus and gemelli, which are going to help to rotate the leg, the adductors, which are going to stabilize and support that leg line, and your obliques and abdominals, which are going to help to keep your upper body stable. This next exercise changes everything. Standing at a 45-degree angle to the bar, you're going to place your foot up onto the bar in à la seconde. Depending on how flexible you are, that's the height of your leg that you're going to try to achieve. Once your leg is there, you're going to rotate so that the heel is coming forward of the toe and your femur is rotating deep into the hip socket. Finding that rotation and maintaining that rotation, you're going to try and lift your heel up towards the ceiling and back down. Lift and back down. As you feel that leg rotate on the bar, you'll feel the work shift from the top of your hip to deep inside the pelvis, which is going to help to create better support for your rotation and allow you for a stronger lift of your extension. Once you're there, you're going to plie 10 times, and then you're going to try and lift your leg off the bar 10 times, keeping the foot flexed to maintain external rotation and a strong connection with those muscles. To build height in your extensions, you're going to need 3 types of strength. Isometric holds, where we have stability at the midpoint, eccentric control, where we're lowering with precision, and rate-coded strength, where we can lift with control and not momentum. Here's how you're going to train that to the side. Mount your leg up as high as you can. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly lower down to the floor. You're then going to repeat that directly out at 90 degrees. Hold and slowly lower down to the floor. The last element is a slow relevé long, going in the opposite direction, lifting as high as you can, holding, and then slowly lowering down without momentum. Do this in each direction, lifting your leg as high as you can, holding and slowly controlling, mid-range, slowly controlling, and then lifting from the floor as high as you can and slowly controlling back down. When you train like this, you're building neural control that will carry through with you into the ballet studio so that you can work and train your skills with the strength that you develop in these exercises. Pelvis is your command center. If it tilts, hikes, or shifts, your line collapses no matter how strong you are. Let's try an exercise to improve our pelvic stability. Lying on your back, you're going to come into a fifth position, bringing your foot up, trying to keep your low back into the ground. You're going to developpé, rotating the leg and extend out to the side, and then slowly bring that leg back down. As you do this, trying to maintain your pelvis so we're not shifting away from our standing leg, we're keeping it flat into the ground, stabilizing and working that control as we go. If you want to make this a little bit harder, you can put your hands above your head. Or directly out to the side. Doing 5 on each leg. When you can effectively isolate your leg motion from your pelvic motion, your extensions will rise because nothing is leaking energy. The next key to improving your extensions is finding your rotation, your turnout, before you start to lift your leg. Often, you'll hear people talking about how you have to lift the knee to get your leg out, but they're not actually focusing on how your hip socket is rotating for the femur to lift. It's all about the sequence of how we lift the leg, starting already from our first lift into coup de pied. From fifth position, you're not just going to pick your foot up. It actually starts from rotation already at the beginning of the movement. As you continue to withdraw your foot up into retiré, you're going to keep your heel coming forward and your knee going towards the back. If we start to lift this way, your hip is already rotated inwards and you're going to have trouble finding an extension because, again, that greater trochanter is going to pinch in at your hip. Instead, think about your knee going diagonally backward, keeping the heel in front of the knee, and then extending your leg out to the side, maintaining as much rotation as you can during that extension, just like we did in that first exercise on the bar. Have a look at the difference between these two. When your body learns the coordination to start movements from rotation, it frees up extension in a way that you've never experienced before. And this is because every muscle is doing its job at exactly the right moment. You're probably thinking to yourself, I see lots of exercises with resistance bands and ankle weights to try and help to build the strength for higher extensions. They're a little bit less effective than you think they are. If you tie a band to your ankle and stand on the other end and do a developpé with that band, all you're doing is putting pressure on your quadricep and essentially doing an extremely challenging leg extension. You're placing resistance at the farthest point away from the fulcrum at the end of the lever of your leg, and then saying, try to hold this with resistance that's pulling your leg down. Instead, lifting your leg with your hand and then slowly lowering it down to the ground is going to develop strength through the eccentric range, using gravity to help you instead of trying to work against gravity while developing that strength. Plus, instead of developing poor technique where you're trying to force your leg into ranges you can't support, lifting your leg and putting it into the proper alignment and slowly lowering it down will develop that strength in the correct range of motion and also with proper alignment. So here's a quick 5-minute training session that you can do every day to help to develop the strength for your extensions. First exercise, you're going to come into a plank. You're going to lift your knee up, turn out, extend, bring it down, lift, and close. Up, open, extend, down, lift, and close. Do 5 reps of that on each side. Your next exercise is going to be 3 reps of controlled developpé in each direction, going as high as you possibly can. But there's a key to this exercise. The key to success with this one is to make sure that before you put the leg down, you lift a little bit. You're going to take 3 seconds to retiré. Open 1, 2, 3. Hold 1, 2, 3. Lift, tendu, and close. You can do that to the front, to the side, and to the back. That last second lift is what increases your height gradually over time. Because remember, building extensions takes practice for many years. After you've done that, you're going to put your leg up on the bar, you're going to flex your foot, and you're going to lift and try and hold for 10 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do that to the front, the side, and the back. As you can see, my foot was flexed as I was doing that exercise because that helps me to really make sure that I'm controlling using my turnout and holding my leg in the proper alignment. Your fourth exercise is going to be your eccentric lowering. So you're going to lift your leg up. You're going to try and hold it in that position. and then slowly lower down. You're going to do that 5 times in each direction. So we're going to also do it to the front, try and hold, and slowly lower down. Also do it to the back. Extend, try and hold, and slowly lower down. The last exercise is doing those developpés on the ground, working on pelvic stability, keeping your low back in the ground, lifting, not letting your pelvis shift, but maintaining connection with both of your parts of your back to the floor as you extend the leg and come down. We can do this to the front as well. And then if you want to flip over, you can try and work on that to the back. That last exercise is all about pelvic stability and not necessarily about the height of your leg. So in case you're looking for a couple of extra exercises that you can do, especially for hip flexor strength, you're going to want to just work on lifting your knee up in a parallel position and down. You can do 3 sets of 10. You can add weight in that range because you're not working at an extended leg position, which is going to help to develop just that hip flexor. You can also do an L-sit where you place your hands by your knees, lift your legs up, try and hold for 60 seconds. If you can't continue to hold in that position, alternate your legs. So today, guys, we broke down the real science of extension development, not just stretching, but the anatomy of control. If you're serious about improving your developpés, don't keep guessing. Start my 7-day Elevate Your Extensions program today and build the foundation that every dancer needs for higher legs. You can start anytime, repeat it anytime. You've got access for life. The link's below in the description, or head to stan.store/Athletistry. Remember, guys, this takes practice for many years. So keep working, and I'll see you in the next video.